Joining us is Washington Examiner reporter Sarah Westwood. Sarah, how dire is the campaign for Jeb Bush? We can look at his low poll numbers, but he keeps pushing on. I guess the question is why?
Well, Jeb Bush hopes to compete in New Hampshire above all. That's why you see him doubling down on his staff that he's sending to New Hampshire. And interestingly, why you didn't see him cancel his ad buys in New Hampshire, even though he did cancel big ones in Iowa and South Carolina. He left his New Hampshire ads intact. It's kind of like if the boat is sinking, what do you throw overboard and what do you keep to keep that boat afloat? The last claim to any kind of victory Jeb Bush had was his fundraising prowess. If he emerges from this last quarter with a low fundraising haul and having to cancel ads just to be able to afford staffers, that's going to look bad for him, because really, what does he have left after the money?
Sarah, do we have any indication of what the fundraising will be like? Carson, his team announced $23 million take in the fourth quarter. Concerns there have been, we'll get all the totals in the days and weeks to come, but concerns there about his burn rate. Ted Cruz, $20 million in the fourth quarter, which was almost double what he had already taken in the year so far. But any indication about Bush's fundraising?
No, campaign staffers have remained quiet, and that's typically not a great sign. If you have a great fundraising haul, you're excited to announce it, like Ben Carson and Ted Cruz. They've already come out and announced it before the quarter's even closed. Jeb Bush's campaign team, all they've said is that they will be competitive this quarter, but they haven't said how much they raised. It's not expected to be a whole lot, though.
Sarah, it's Matt Murray. What's the feeling that you're picking up from the fundraisers and from behind the scenes of the Bush campaign? How nervous are they getting? So far, they've portrayed themselves as being behind their guy and thinking his time is coming. But are they getting nervous? Are they pressuring him a lot now to make changes? And is his time really running short?
Well, they're certainly worried, and one of the biggest red flags for them is probably what Jeb Bush's super PAC Right to Rise has done. You know, at one point it had $100 million in the bank. It's spent about half of that with very little to show for it. So donors are wondering, you know, if I do give these big sums either to your campaign or to your PAC, what am I going to see for it? And you see where Jeb Bush is set to make his final stand in New Hampshire. That establishment lane, so to speak, is crowded. He's going up against Chris Christie, he's going up against John Kasich, and they all have a pretty similar share of the vote there. And if he doesn't do well, it's hard to see where he picks up momentum moving forward.
Sarah, something happened at a speech yesterday that Donald Trump did that kind of it perfectly captures why he's so successful on the campaign trail. This is how Trump took on the president's push on climate change. Listen to this.
You can't use hairspray because hairspray is going to affect the ozone. I'm trying to figure out. Let's see, I'm in my room in New York City, and I want to put a little spray so that I can... Right? But I hear where they don't want me to use hairspray. They want me to use the pump. I want to use hairspray. They say, don't use hairspray. It's bad for the ozone. Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that. A lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax. A lot of it. Look, I want clean air and I want clean water. That's my global. I want clean crystal water. And I want clean air. And we can do that. But we don't have to destroy our businesses.
There you go. It's engrossing. I was at the gym watching this, and I thought that perfectly summarizes why he's being effective on the campaign trail. Sarah, what do you think?
You're exactly right. I mean, he says things that maybe don't make a lot of sense when you looked closely at it. You know, there's nothing in the CFCs that used to make hairspray harmful aren't there anymore. But, you know, it's why people love him, because they think, you know, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Why is hairspray being outlawed? And so, you know, that's why people love Donald Trump.
Does he have cases of Final Net stored in the apartment over on Fifth Avenue from like the 80s?
Yeah.
Keith?
I don't know.
I got to say,
you
arguably have the best hair on on the
had,
panel.
I don't know about that, but I definitely had a lot of hairspray back there in the room 5 minutes ago. They just lit me up with the aerosol can. And again, I'd go with Trump on this. People love how he calls that just like it is, because it's so ridiculous. And again, it is appealing. He's a fantastic marketer. Whether or not he's going to be a great leader, I mean, that's entirely a different debate. But again, that kind of speech, whether you're on the treadmill or you're just watching it right now, I think is very appealing to people.
Well, it's relatable. I mean, you look at the guy, it's like, how can you not relate to that and be drawn to it, right? And we saw this from the start. I mean, he filled up a stadium with 40,000 people in, what was it, Mississippi or Alabama. I mean, it's easy to relate to the guy, and that's what people want. People want two things out of this election. They want strength and they want security, and they feel he can provide both, because he's coming into these debates and you can see how he's just deflecting everything, and he's staying, and he's got his resolve. And even when they're attacking him, he's like Teflon, right? And then he comes in and he says what people want. Yeah, we want clean air, we want clean water, and that's it.
Sarah, thank you for being here. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for everything, weighing in on fundraising and hairspray. Sarah Westwood.
Thank you.
Take care.